What's going on, everybody? We're back with another episode
Let's
of
get it.
Pickin Six. I am joined by Chad from Men of Order. Connor could not make it tonight, but that's okay. We will persevere. Chad, how you feeling?
All my homies hate Connor. No, I'm just joking.
He's got a job, and
Shout out
we
to
get
Connor.
it.
Yeah, stupid people with work stuff after hours. Like, come on.
Yeah.
No, it's good to be back. I'm of the philosophy that when you get boat raced by a team like Tennessee, you wear your colors loud and proud anyway. I never stop wearing this stuff. My LSU hard hat goes to work with me. It doesn't matter. I take all the heat. I bring the smoke. I don't care. But no, there's an exciting slate of games. Speaking of Tennessee, that's going to be an interesting one.
We will hop into
Neyland
that.
Stadium. So
Right?
yeah, it's going to be a fun weekend.
We'll build up to that
so
one.
I'm
We'll
looking
get
forward
a
to it.
couple under our belt.
Yeah,
We'll
let's build up to it. Yeah, for sure.
So, as we say, let's hop right into it. Probably one of the best Big Ten games that will most likely be this year. We got Michigan -7 against Penn State. This is definitely in Ann Arbor. I know that because the whiteout game at Penn State this year is Minnesota and not Michigan, so it's definitely in Ann Arbor. I always feel bad for because Penn State either gets like a bunch of great games at home, a lot of whiteout game opportunities, or they get none. All their good games are away. So this game is in Ann Arbor. It is a noon game. I'm surprised it's a night game, for being honest. Both teams are undefeated going into this one. Chad, what are your thoughts here?
So without giving away too much, I have something I've been working on for a while, and it's finally starting to come into fruition. And on top of the fact that I've seen some struggles from Michigan, and I've been waiting for when they trip up and lose one.
They got close. They did not look great early last week.
Yeah, I also feel like they don't match up well. The only thing that scares me with them is like Bo Corum is legit, man. Like that dude, give the man his respect. He's good for a 40-yarder every weekend, no matter what, and it seems to always be like on 4th and 1 or 3rd and 1 or something like that, where they just need a yard. The other team loads up the box on him, and he just busts it. Breaks contain, and he's gone.
Yeah.
But no, I really I want to pick Penn State so bad in this game, and honestly, I think there's like decent reason to, even though it's in Ann Arbor. I haven't seen that being the huge advantage that it typically can be. I look at what Maryland did to this Michigan team, where they hung with them for a really, really long time, and I kind of, I don't know, I'm feeling good about Penn State giving them a run for their money. I like that 7. Give me that +7. I'm not going to go money line unless it's just like a little sprinkle. But no, I'll take that. I'll take that 7 points. Give me that.
Yeah, I feel just a good number right here.
What are you grinning about?
I think my girlfriend's trying to promote me over here. I don't know what she's doing.
Okay.
Taking pics. She's trying to listen. She's a big supporter. No matter what, when I'm live, no matter what, she has this on her iPad. Like literally, she'll be on the couch over there. She'll have this on her iPad. So she's a big supporter.
I love it.
So that's what I'm laughing about, is that she's taking my picture while I'm talking to you. Anyway,
it's supposed to be candid, Tyler. It's supposed to be candid. You're not supposed to
look at you
be
and not
posing and smiling. Right? Exactly.
So anyway, game is in Ann Arbor. Penn State is a fan base that travels well. There will be some blue and white in that stadium, no doubt about it in my mind. There's Penn State alumni all over the planet. You know what I mean? So there will be a Happy Valley contingent, most definitely, in Ann Arbor at noon. I think that because this is still like that touchdown, I don't know if this line will get slimmer, as money comes in. Most likely will be Penn State. 58% of the bets are on Penn State as we stand right now. I could see this line shrink, which is good to jump. In my opinion, if you want Penn State, get it now. I could definitely foresee this line shrinking a little bit, closer to Saturday. I have a lot of respect, at least personally, for the most part, for James Franklin. He handed Georgia their most recent Vandy loss when he was still the head coach there, and he is one hell of a recruiter. I think that he should not be the play caller. If we're being honest, I think that they still miss Moorhead a lot in Happy Valley. Um, yeah, I like Penn State plus the points here. I feel like it might be a trap. Michigan has been slowly faltering to
Yep.
lesser competition. You know what I mean? Like obviously they got away from Indiana, but like it was still very scary for them.
Mm-hmm.
Early on, I definitely think that Penn State is way better than Maryland and Indiana. Now is this
I
a
would hope
light 'em
so.
up kind of Penn State team? No, but I think that this is definitely one of the better Penn State teams we've seen in the past couple of years. They
Mm-hmm.
at least somebody who can contend with Michigan, and Michigan hasn't played a contender yet.
Yeah,
Um,
well, and that's what I was going to say. It's somebody who can like keep it close.
yeah,
Somebody who can make it a fight.
yeah, and we're not
So
necessarily
yeah.
claiming that Michigan's going to lose. We just are thinking that Penn State's going to make it a fight.
Although I think they could.
Um,
Like I've been
yeah,
I've been picking Michigan to lose for a while, and like you look at it, they've got their bye coming up, and then they've got a pretty easy schedule coming out of the bye before they get Illinois and Ohio State at the end of the season. So
yeah,
I don't see them, and then the championship, but I don't see them necessarily looking past this one or anything like that. I think
no,
this is like one of those opportunities where it's going to be a hype atmosphere because they know this is their last big game for about a month.
yeah.
And so I expect them to come ready to play. I just think Penn State is is the team that can give them a handful.
Yeah,
Um,
and Penn
and I
State is
haven't been
known.
impressed.
Penn State is known for shock and awe too when it matters. When,
Hmm.
when it comes down to it, I will never in my life forget the Ohio State Penn State of a couple years ago. But yeah,
Hmm.
the fellas are on Penn State plus 7. Let's roll
There you
right
go.
into the Big 12, which Vegas puts out
What,
some weird
what
lines,
the
and
hell is up with this line?
they're trying to get us some way somehow. We know it. After Oklahoma laid a goose egg, what was it, 49-0?
49-0. Yeah.
40
And
in
it was ugly early in that game too. And then
very ugly.
Texas kind of called off the dogs on them,
Yeah,
honestly,
and
late in that game.
Oklahoma was trying just the dumbest stuff, like to
Hmm.
just have it blow up in their face. Um, and who would have thought that like this is like they say it's like a repeat of 2007 where all of a sudden Kansas is good again. You know what I
Right.
mean? Haven't been good since then.
So does that mean we're going to backdoor our way into a 2-loss national championship again? Let's go. Let's go. We're still alive. Hey, look, we can still win the West. Our losses are to Florida State and Tennessee, a team that's not in the SEC and a team in the East. So if we run the table, we win the West. I'm just saying. I'm just putting it out there. Brian Kelly, if you're listening, I expect big things because Kansas is good again.
Kansas is good again, but
Yeah.
Missouri's not. So they're that's the only fault.
Oh, yeah, that's true. Yeah, yeah, yeah. And I think
Yeah,
I think there were some other. There was let's see, Missouri, and then Arizona State and USC.
just a weird year.
Yeah.
But yeah,
So,
I
so
mean,
I'm looking to see if Jalen Daniels is.
that's the
So they're
biggest
saying,
factor, right?
yeah, they're saying he's possibly out for the season. I mean, if that's the
What did
case,
he do? I didn't even see what happened to him.
yeah, I don't even. To be honest, I don't even remember. Was it
It's
his shoulder?
also in Norman too. And you know that the Oklahoma fan base is actually like this is like a game like, you know, a home game on the year where like you'll probably drink in the parking lot and then once the game starts you'll probably head over to the bars. You know what I mean? Like a normal year if you're an Oklahoma
Hmm.
student. But I feel like this is a game where they're actually going to show up because they may be on upset alert.
Yeah, it's his right. It's his throwing shoulder. So I'm glad I actually like. I thought I remembered it being a shoulder, but I wasn't certain. Yeah. So
So it's
right,
his arm.
his throwing shoulder. Yeah. Well, it's his throwing shoulder though. Like that's
Yeah. Yeah.
significant. So
So
I'm guessing he's not available for this weekend.
mhm.
But Kansas is still they still got some talent. And if you look, the kid who came in for him last week actually held his own.
Yeah, against
So,
TCU, who's not a bad team.
yeah, no, not at all.
So
I was surprised.
are we willing to jump on Kansas +9 without Daniels, or are we just like is this more food for thought? Like people keep an eye on this one
Yeah, I would keep an eye on it, but I don't know. I'm
because I feel
so
here's
this
what's going to
kid.
happen. Because right now, 90% of the bets are on Kansas.
Mm-hmm.
So that means that just Oklahoma might just take a fat dump on Kansas on Saturday. Like,
Yeah, so Jason Bean against TCU kept in a game where I think without Jalen Daniels, I think everybody was once he went out in that game, everybody was just like, "Oh, that's it. It's over. They're done." And they were in that game until the very last minute. And was this Jason Bean? Is that his name? Yeah, Jason Bean came in. He was 16 for 24, 4 touchdowns, 262 yards. So this isn't he's not Jalen Daniels. Daniels was a Heisman Trophy candidate. So like we're not saying production. It's that, but that's production. Exactly. Yeah. That's what I'm saying. Like he can still find open people. And Oklahoma, Brent Venables is like, I don't know. He comes over as like the defensive guru from Dabo Sweeney's Clemson teams over the last 5-6 years, and
defensive guru lets them 49 points.
They are. That's what I'm saying. That like something's got to give. Either they're going to just keep giving up points, and this Bean kid will come in and light them up too, or maybe this number isn't as stupid as I think it is. But I tend to think it is. And actually, like if I go back to what I've been looking at as well. Now, granted, some of this stuff is, with numbers that were with Jalen Daniels in the lineup, but I've got Kansas, significantly favored in this game if all things are being equal. Now, I would say you probably bring that closer to even, maybe even a slight edge to Oklahoma.
Yeah, I think
without him there, but 9 points is a lot.
Yeah, I feel like the reason that this line is what it is because Daniels is out. Like that's just Vegas recognizing that Kansas does not have their starter. Like I feel like if this is like I feel like this is like a field goal spread if Daniels is playing.
Yep, exactly.
You know what I mean? I still think that Oklahoma gets favored if Daniels is playing, but I think it's way tighter. Just based off the money coming in. No, they're not going to be a 9-point underdog with their true starter. I'm gonna give a healthy lean to Kansas, but I'm not gonna like. That's not going to.
No, but I'm taking 9 points though. I'm
taking all 9 points.
Yeah, this is going to be on my list for sure.
Yeah, I'm going to take a healthy lean, and I'll probably end up taking it. We're going to stick Big 12. Oklahoma State is a team that I have gone against the spread the past 2 weeks, and I took them because it was weird. Like they were home dogs to Baylor. And won, and they were, I think I forget where they played last. I had them against the Red Raiders of Texas Tech, and it worked out just fine. It's still -4. It is in Fort Worth, so that's TCU. But still, like it's going to be a +4, +3.5. I think that the bets are split 50-50 right down the middle right now. I like Oklahoma State.
I'm not betting against Mike Gundy.
No.
I just seen it too many times in conference play. It doesn't matter where you're playing. Doesn't matter who they're playing.
Man,
they're coming to play. Now, I mean, look, hey, I know it's become a meme and everything from 15 years ago or so. But he does, and his players will go through walls for him because he there's a legit mutual respect there. I'm not betting against him, and I actually had Oklahoma State plus the 4 before we even started talking. So like that was my take. Now, the one thing I will say is that over under is a John Ryan special waiting to be capitalized upon. If we are like 7-3 at the end of one, I'm hammering the under that's down to 59 now. Yeah. I'm hammering it. Because I still think this game could be one of those games where each team scores 3 touchdowns in a quarter.
Yeah, it's going to open up. It's like it's always like we always like it's especially in conference play. Teams take the first quarter, even quarter and a half to figure each other out.
Yep.
Especially in conference play because these are the games you have to win. In a given season. I mean, in college football, you have to win every game.
You're built for these teams too.
Exactly. You play this. You're going to play TCU every year if you're in the Big 12. And I mean, it's funny enough is that TCU actually the past 5 years is 3-2 straight up. But I mean, how different are these teams to last year where Oklahoma State won 63-17? How different are these teams?
And it can't be that different, but I mean, it's it's worth noting. And this TCU team seems to be different. Like they're playing really well, and I can imagine that atmosphere is going to be crazy because I know how
Because TCU hasn't had a team in a little bit.
TCU fans are really so like Gary Patterson had some teams in the early to mid teens.
I remember
they fell off
teams.
the last 3 or 4 years.
Yeah.
And they're
now
they're finally back.
Middle school. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
No, I agree. So we both like Oklahoma State +4. Let's head out west to this makes no.
I don't understand what the hell's going on with these lines. Like, what the hell? Like, USC is coming into this game undefeated. Utah just got destroyed by UCLA.
And
I don't get it.
Favored? Like, is somebody major hurt for USC that I'm not seeing?
Yeah, I don't know. Like, and Lincoln Riley still, unless it's Williams, I don't get this line.
You know what? Just so that we're
think anybody else matters.
Let me so that I'm not like missing something major.
Yeah, if it's not Caleb Williams, I don't care. Because that's the only guy who can.
And I feel like we would all know if he was out.
Would know. We would know if one of the leading Heisman Trophy candidates was out for this game.
Yeah. And
it makes no sense.
6-0, and they're here to play this year. They're gonna. They're here to take the Pac-12 and get that fourth playoff spot.
They're gonna have their hands. They're gonna have their hands full when they have to play that big rivalry game with UCLA. But until then, I'm with you. I think this is they're seeing this as their year. They brought Lincoln Riley over. They brought Caleb Williams over. Like, it's the biggest free agent season in USC history.
Southern California has not the state of California in general has not had this good of football in a while.
Right.
A good of college football in a while. You know, so UCLA, you're right. UCLA USC is going to be one of the better matchups they've had in a while of those two teams.
Yep.
I like USC +3 right here, just without even putting much thought into it.
No shit. You know what I'm looking at? I'm looking at actually teasing this thing. I might tease it to get better money and tease it up to like USC -2 or something.
Yeah, or even USC money line. Like that's +145.
Yeah, I know, but I'm saying like I'm going to go for like some +180 TC.
USC
-2.
I see what you mean.
USC -2.
Yeah, that's a great call. I say that
let them win by a field goal and then I'm cash.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you always save the field goal in a conference game. You always save the field goal in a conference matchup.
Well, especially if it somehow goes to overtime or something like that. I hate having some weird 4 points and it goes to overtime and then I'm like,
yeah, I hate that 4 or 5.
This is definitely not.
Yeah, so definitely I am on USC plus the points, and even I would take USC straight up, but like as my official pick, I'm going to take the points.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. Let's. And this is also another.
Wait, so have we picked all dogs so far?
Let's see. Yeah, we picked Penn State.
Yep, +7.
The underdogs are barking, ladies and gentlemen.
Yes.
So we got Penn State +7, Kansas +9, Oklahoma State +4, and USC +3.5. The dogs are bark. Bro, I'm gonna say now, like you can easily take like a nice little dog money line parlay and just.
I'm thinking the same thing. Like do a little money line parlay. I do like one of each. Do like a maybe $5 on a spread.
Yeah,
parlay,
and then
like $250 on a money line parlay.
Take like $100,000 or something ridiculous.
Yeah.
This is just this is a very college football. Let everybody know now if you come from the NFL and stuff. This is a very college heavy episode, just purely because of what the weekend slate has to offer. And it's like we're still gonna have some NFL here.
It's the first NFL bye week. So there's 6 or 8 teams or whatever not playing. So there's not as many games in the NFL slate. Now there's some bye weeks in college too, but there's some really good matchups.
There's some great matchups.
There aren't as many good matchups in the NFL. There's like 3 that I really like in the NFL. But let's continue with the college.
So stick around. There definitely will be some NFL talk at the end. So don't worry, everybody. If you see it's all college.
Right.
Let's see another ACC remove. We're jumping to the ACC. Syracuse -3.5 against NC State. Like NC
again,
Syracuse is not as good as their record shows. Yeah,
I'm adding another dog to the parlay. Yeah. I love NC State in this matchup. I don't get it. I don't understand. Syracuse to me does not. This is not justified. My apologies to Jordan Capozzi. Huh?
So they're better than years past, but they're not this. Yeah.
they haven't really played anybody yet.
No.
I mean, they played Purdue.
They played
Who else did they play?
Wagner, UVA,
Wagner, UConn.
UVA, Purdue. The last 5 games are Wagner, UVA, Purdue, UConn, and Louisville.
Yeah, and Louisville and Purdue are solid. You know,
UVA is not
non-gimmies.
bad from year to
UVA is
year.
not terrible. But I don't. Let's see. What's UVA? Let's look at Virginia real quick. They are 1-4.
Definitely a
And
down year for Bronco.
their average margin is minus 11.2, and their opponents aren't that good. That's Virginia Tech. My bad. They're minus 11.8. Also 1-4. So Virginia and Virginia Tech. It's not a good year to be from Virginia. I'm loving NC State here. I don't understand. And plus, I think Syracuse lost like one of their stud linebackers in like either preseason or like the first week of the season.
Yeah,
and he's done for the year. And so like, they've patched it together.
They're running the offense. They're running their offense.
They are.
Yeah.
And they had that big blowout win against Wagner, but I actually think sometimes that can be like a detriment. You can come out of one of those games and it was a little bit too easy, where you just kind of half-assed your way through it, and then you're
a New York team. It's just easy to get them on the schedule to come over.
Yeah, and it's in the Carrier Dome, so it's going to be they're going to have that atmosphere, so you're going to have that. But I don't know. I still like NC State plus the 3.5 here. They're definitely going on my parlay.
If you look at like the last 5 games, NC State has so much better. Like to be fair, both teams have a common opponent of UConn. Both have a very similar outcome. Mm-hmm. But NC State still has wins over Florida State, who's not bad. Obviously, they beat LSU, so obviously they're amazing. I had them. I think they could have made it better.
You laugh, but they might be able to beat Clemson this weekend.
No.
So
Clemson and NC State. NC State I thought would play a little bit better against Clemson. I thought that was like an upset alert for me.
Yeah.
They beat Texas Tech. Those are at least definitely better wins than Syracuse's last 5 games. So, like I said, add another dog to the mix.
That's right.
NC State plus 3.5. Mm-hmm. Love it. I love it.
And I like them to win the game too. So
yeah, I'll take them straight up.
I'll add them to the money line list as well.
As we talk,
every one of these games it makes no sense. This is the first one where I'm not going to say I really love the dog in this one.
Yeah,
but I could see it.
Yeah,
I don't love it, but I can see it. It's in Tallahassee, so like it's not not a foregone conclusion. And this is one of the better teams Florida State has had in a few years, ever since Jimbo left. And this Clemson team, I think they're starting to put it together. But DJ Ugalele, I don't know. I'm not going to try to say his name. Uyagalele, whatever, however you pronounce his name. Yeah, DJ. He is very Jekyll and Hyde. Like he can be dominant. 100%. He can be really, really good when guys are open and there's some broken plays and he's able to find guys, and then he can just miss wide open people on third down, and you're and next thing you know you're punting and you have 3 and outs in a row. So I don't know what to expect from him.
No, he is
and
not.
That's key.
When you think about the string of Clemson quarterbacks, like Taj Gibson, Deshaun Watson, Trevor Lawrence, like you just like that's, you know what I mean? Like Clemson quarterbacks have been really good for like the past 12, 12
it's
years.
Been a while. Yeah, it's been a while.
You know what I mean? Like so, like this is like the first one where it's like he was supposed to be the truth, obviously. Like you know what I mean? He's a modern day guy. He's a Cali, right? He's one of the modern day guys. Like he's just like a 5-star, 20-star recruit.
Right.
I just think he has not lived up to that yet for Clemson. Obviously you're coming off of Trevor Lawrence, but still, like he still could be better than what he is.
Yeah. Well, he's
wishy-washy. Like his good is really good, but his bad is really bad.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's his consistency and his accuracy is the biggest problem. When he's accurate, he's great. When he's not always accurate. That's what he's so inconsistent with his accuracy that you don't know what you're going to get. So
I'll say this, Chad: 82% of the bets are on Clemson in Tallahassee.
Ooh. Okay, that we might get a better number.
We might get a better number. So we might get a better. I can see it's going. Yeah,
it might be like minus 5.5 before it's over with.
this might be so. That's what I'm saying. This might be one that I wait on. Like as it's if that hot, if the market is that hot on Clemson, this number is going to move, and we'll take that number as big as we can make it. So yeah, listen, it's a weekend of the dogs. It's the weekend of the dogs. Right. Speaking of the dogs, I was so hot on Kentucky last week. Like I
don't like the dog in this one.
Yeah, I thought that,
especially if Will Levis is out. If Will Levis is out, it's like it's all she wrote, man.
What I really like was it's Stoops, right? It's Stoops is the head coach.
Yeah,
of Kentucky.
Mark Stoops. Yeah,
I think that what he has done with that program is definitely something to be commended. He has made them not a basketball school. You know what I mean? Like it's always like it's like when it's like Kentucky is like the football season is just them waiting for basketball to start, and now it's actually like they're contending. Will Levis is a great player, but without him, I like Mississippi and Moorhead. Obviously, hell of a coach for Mississippi State. So I've seen
Mike Leach.
Is it Leach or Moore? I thought Moorhead was the.
No, Mike Leach is the quarterback. Is the coach at Mississippi State.
Ignore me. I'm thinking of something different.
No, it's all good. It's all good.
As you can tell, there's a little bit of bias in who I pay attention to and who I don't. But I'm still like there is once again one of the better Mississippi State. Like I feel like what's really happening is like this year is not so top heavy anymore.
Yeah.
For the most part, like
no, we were talking about it before we came on here with Texas A&M coming like a razor's edge away and maybe a PI that didn't get called away from beating Alabama in Tuscaloosa.
Yeah, that's
in Mississippi State. And granted, that's without Bryce Young. That's with the Milroe
that's still kid. In Tuscaloosa.
Still in Tuscaloosa, and Alabama still has Anderson and Jahmyr Gibbs and all the, you know what I mean? They've got monsters up and down. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. No, that's what I'm saying. Like, still have Will Anderson, still have Jahmyr Gibbs, still have like tons of weapons and front defensive and offensive fronts.
Yeah,
that
Will Anderson had like 12 sacks and they were still in it.
Yeah.
Will Anderson.
So, and that was with Texas A&M playing with their backup or their third guy or whatever. It was. Yeah, so Max Johnson kind of took the job from King, but and then now that Max Johnson's hurt, he's back in, King back in there. And he was very inconsistent. He was missing throws that where he could have made some plays. But no, so I look at this, what I was getting at is this week, and we're going to get into that Tennessee Alabama game. Like
we are.
That is going to be really, really interesting because from what I'm seeing right now, I can't tell you that I wouldn't. It's hard for me not to say Tennessee's the best team in the SEC right now.
We'll get to that.
Listen, I know you. I know the jersey you're wearing, and I get it. But I'm just like, it's gonna be really interesting to see Alabama go toe to toe with Hendon Hooker and that offense, and then Georgia go toe to toe with Hendon Hooker and that offense. And how that stuff all shakes out because there's some things you can do to get him off his square, but it's harder than you think. And what I was getting at is that LSU beat Mississippi State by 2 touchdowns, and they were down 13-0 to start that game and came back and just boat raced them at the end. Okay, scored like 27 unanswered points or something. Mississippi State destroyed Texas A&M 2 weeks ago,
and Arkansas.
Yeah. And then Arkansas hung with Alabama for 3 quarters.
Yeah.
And then Alabama ran away from them. And then A&M almost beat Alabama.
And barely beat Arkansas.
So I'm just looking at this and to your top-heavy point. Right. To your top-heavy point, I think that this is one of those years where, like, the SEC you could have a couple of one-loss teams playing in the SEC championship. And it wouldn't even be a bad thing. Like, I think those two – if there's 2 one-loss teams played in the SEC championship, I still think they both deserve to go to the playoff over some of these other conferences. But it wouldn't be ideal for the SEC.
This is the best that the SEC East has been as a whole conference in a very long time.
Yes.
In my recent memory,
top to bottom, yeah, absolutely.
Top to bottom, obviously, Vandy is what it is. I know they're waiting for baseball season.
But Vandy, South Carolina, Missouri's Missouri.
We still have Kentucky, Florida, Tennessee, Georgia. Where normally it's just Florida, Georgia.
Right. Yep.
Like
Well,
last
and
year,
in the
I will say
West,
this. Last year when we played Tennessee, actually, hold on. We are going to
yeah.
I'm
Let's
getting
just
ahead of myself.
finish
Let's
this.
go.
Finish again. So I like Mississippi State to win this game,
Me too.
especially if Will Levis plays. I like Mississippi State to cover this spread as well, and I might even be tempted to tease it up to like minus
Will
six and
Levis
a
does
half.
or does not play.
Yeah, if Will Levis is out, then
Yeah.
I'm teasing this up to 6.5, and I'm expecting State to win this by like 14, 17, maybe even 3
If
touchdowns.
Will Levis plays, I'm going to be a little wary of this. In
Yeah,
my
for sure.
humble opinion.
Yeah.
If
No,
Will Levis,
playmakers make plays, man.
and he is definitely one of, you know what I mean? He is one of them. And like he is big for the Kentucky football, just for their
Right.
program as a whole. So like I said, like if Levis doesn't, I'm on Mississippi State in the points, no doubt. But if he is, I might stay away. I'm not going to say I'm taking Kentucky to cover. I just might stay away. You know what I mean? I might leave it away. You leave it off. Keep that money in my pocket and put it on this next game. As we were alluding to before, Alabama -7.
Yes.
At Tennessee in Knoxville. That's like one of the biggest things that we could take the next 20 minutes to talk about this game if we want to. Sorry, folks, buckle up. We have 2 SEC fans talking about one of the biggest SEC games of the season that isn't the Iron Bowl, that isn't LSU, Alabama, that isn't Georgia, Florida. That is finally, but this game I know used to be relevant when I was a lot younger.
It used to be the game. It was the game. It was the what's his name? Keith Jackson used to call this game on ABC in the afternoon, and it was like they would show the sun setting and all that. Like it was like a big deal. And then Tennessee went through this stretch where they can't beat Alabama for like 20 years in a row.
I think it's 15. I think it's 15 years in a row that Alabama has beaten. Yeah, but I'm just saying, like for the number, it's still like at 20 is not even like that much of an exaggeration. It's 15 in a row where Alabama, Tennessee. I mean, like this is in Knoxville for 3:30 at CBS, so we know who's going to be calling it. Gary Danielson is going to see his beloved Tide have to go up against a really good team.
So Tennessee, you see that too? Danielson loves Alabama and speaks with a little favor towards the Tide every single time he does a broadcast. Okay, it's not
I
just
hate
me.
when he calls Georgia games because he hates us for some reason. Like
he hates us too. He hates us too.
It doesn't matter who we're playing. He just talks so like he just hates us. Like because we don't get that many night games. We usually like that 3:30 slot. So it's like we're always CBS and it's him calling it, or Brett Musburger and Gary Danielson. It's just like is what it is. But
so the key for this game is Bryce Young. Like if Bryce Young plays, it's a whole different setup. I still like Tennessee plus this number, but I don't like Tennessee so much to win it. If Bryce Young does not play and it's up to Jalen Milroe to carry the offense for Alabama. I like Tennessee -3.
Yeah,
it's a whole different game.
It's like I'll say this, like the only reason that we did like that, like Tennessee, like we kept Tennessee away was because of how ridiculous our defense was last year. They got us on our toes very early. They put 17 on us before we even knew what happened in our game last year.
Yep.
And I said, like, if we like, and it's only because our defense was what it was. It was the NFL prospects that we had. Like, is that the reason that we won? Like that's the reason we won most of our games last year, if we're being honest.
It typically happens that way.
Huh?
So it typically happens that way.
Yeah.
Even Alabama, when they go through a run of like where they have like 15 people get drafted or whatever, they're not as good the next year.
No. And it's like we are self-aware of that fact coming off of like a national championship. I said if I'm losing, it's not going to be to freaking Missouri. That's all I'm gonna say. Like it's like
it almost was.
AG. I was at like it's a side note. We were at homecoming, and like AG was having to talk me off all the legends in the world. Like when it was like 16-6, I was like, oh my god, I don't know what's gonna happen. I don't like this. But yeah, this game in Knoxville, the 3:30 slot, like I just know that stadium is going to be so perfectly sectioned orange and white. Like, and I hate Tennessee. they've grown a soft. I've grown a small soft spot for them this year, just because you have to respect the talent like that they have, the coaching that they finally have. I miss what was the guy's name that had the wacky
Right.
pants? Oh my god, but
Phil Fulmer.
Is that who it was? Butch Jones,
Butch Davis, and then they had no, it was
yeah.
Butch Jones, and then they had
Jeremy
Derek
Pruitt
Dooley
was
for a minute.
Jeremy Pruitt
for
was
a minute,
OC
and then
for
Pruitt
DC
after that.
for like
Yeah.
a little bit. Yeah. Anyway, yeah. This whole game, because right now 81% of the bets are on the balls of the spread.
Yeah, that's going to change though if we get news that Bryce Young is playing. That's going to flip.
I think this line moves to easily to a field goal if Bryce Young is if Bryce Young is playing.
Yeah.
That's why you take this spread. No, I think if Bryce Young is playing, I think the spread gets bigger. The spread might jump to 10.
No, yeah. Right.
I was thinking the wrong direction. That's my fault.
No, I'm with you. You tricked me into it too. I was like, you're right.
I think the spread gets even bigger. It might even go to double digits.
I'll say this. I don't know that it gets that much bigger. I think it maybe goes to 9, maybe 10.
Yeah.
But if we get news that he is ruled out, this number goes to a field goal.
It shrinks. That's why they set it at this number, because he could still play. You know what I mean? What is even wrong with him? Was it his
shoulder? His right shoulder. Yeah. So when he was rolling out on a third down play against Arkansas.
Yeah.
And he tried to get rid of the ball as he was being sacked, and he came down and landed on the ground and kind of bent it backwards.
Yeah.
And
okay. So that's a lot of and obviously with a QB with as much money as he's worth right now,
right?
You're not even for a game as big as this, if he's not 100% ready, I don't think you play him.
Yeah.
If you're smart,
I agree.
Because Saban has all of these guys on the bench, Milroe's a starter at. Let's give our synopsis of Milroe while we're talking about it, because we are seeing
Jalen Milroe. He has a name familiar for people who are watching the NFL right now. His name is Jalen. There's another quarterback whose name was Jalen who went to Alabama.
Yeah,
I think they're the same guy. And I think maybe Jalen Milroe does the same thing that Jalen Hurts did, where he toils away here as a backup and a guy who can, barely complete a pass on third down. He may or may not hit the guy if he's wide open. And then maybe he transfers somewhere else, like Oklahoma, and lights the world on fire. Maybe USC for Lincoln Riley. But no, I think they compare very similarly. And you and I, we had this discussion with some of the folks, in our group with Ant and with John Ryan and everything.
Yeah,
I respect what Jalen Hurts is doing in the NFL right now.
100%.
And I see that. But I'm here to tell you, you and I both watched him week in, week out when he was a sophomore, when he was a junior. And if it's not for him getting yanked in the national championship game, you guys win the national championship in 2018.
Yep.
And Tua Tagovailoa just lit y'all on fire after he threw a pick. Then he lit y'all on fire.
Dude, the fact it is even funny. It's they didn't even almost win. We talk about 2nd and 26, where that's just blown coverage down the sideline with Devontae Smith.
Devontae Smith, yeah, but funny that, right?
But still, I tell everybody this, and nobody gives me the time of day. We are we are not waiting until 2021 to win a national championship. We are winning it that night if Jalen Hurts stays in that game. We had him. He couldn't throw against us, so we just literally we kept him in the box.
Yeah,
we kept him in the box, and nothing. He could do nothing.
And I'm waiting for somebody in the NFL to figure out how to do something similar, where they can force him to stay in the pocket with a messy pocket, and make reads downfield, because he struggles with that sometimes when guys aren't wide open.
I think that he at least has enough wherewithal to make the short read in a tight pinch. He gets that ball out quicker short now, which is even more than he was doing at Alabama or Oklahoma. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I think that obviously having AJ Brown and Devontae Smith make a massive difference for him.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think
Although,
that.
I'll say this though. You cannot say that he did not have weapons when he was at Alabama.
Oh no,
Because Alabama
well,
has
Jerry was it? Who were his receivers? Jerry Judy,
Jerry
Devontae
Judy,
Smith. Oh,
Henry Ruggs.
Henry Ruggs. Who was there? He had.
No, Devontae Smith wasn't. Oh no, Devontae Smith was there. He was a freshman though
Yeah, he
that
was
year
young.
because he caught the game winner.
Game winner. Yeah.
But it wasn't from Jalen Hurts. He
No.
was a freshman that year. Yeah, Devontae Smith.
Waddle. Jalen Waddle. I think
Jalen Waddle. Yeah.
And he also had Damian. He had Najee Harris and Damian Harris as his running backs.
I mean, it's insane. Yeah, it's very unfair. And their offensive line is always elite. But anyway, so back to this game. So Jalen Milroe, if he's the quarterback in this game, I think I don't see how he can compete with Hendon Hooker as
Hooker
punch
so
for
much more
punch, blow for blow.
He has the legs that Milroe has, but he also has like you said, he makes the reads. He makes the short dump offs when he needs. He extends those third down drive. Like he is really good. And I got nervous about him last year. We played him. I was very nervous. Like you could tell, like it was the same thing when we played LSU the first time they had Joe Burrow. I'm pretty sure that we won, but we knew early that he was going to be a guy. You know what I mean? Like you see these guys and you give them a year and they're completely different. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think that honestly, he could play running back for Alabama. He's fast as shit.
But Hendon Hooker
he's not the guy to lead them to win this game.
The other thing is, if you look at Alabama and the times that they have struggled, it's against these mobile quarterbacks with some size and who can throw the ball downfield. Like if you've got a guy who can basically do what Alabama's been doing at quarterback for a while now, you've got those kind of guys. You can not just hang with them, but you can actually you can beat them. Like Johnny Manziel beat them. What's his face? Nick Marshall. Those guys beat him. Ole Miss had,
Stetson Bennett.
Yes. Well, no, but that's different. Like that was a complete team, though. I'm talking about you got some other schools that and even LSU with Jordan Jefferson back in 11. They beat him the first time around.
They do not do well.
They don't do well against those mobile quarterbacks, especially not the first time. So that first look, there's some plays that he can just make where Will Anderson is going to be running for his life, trying to chase after him and get him on the ground. And they may have to just have him spy and not really pursue. And if he's not pursuing, if he's not attacking, that's a win already.
And here's another thing too. It's in Knoxville, so if he's offsides, they're gonna know.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean? If he's offsides, it's gonna be very apparent. You know what I mean?
Well, and that's another thing too, that especially if it's not Bryce Young and it's Jalen Milroe, is Jalen Milroe played that game last week in Tuscaloosa, where when they needed to snap the ball, the crowd can get quiet and they can let them go through their audibles, hear the snap count and everything.
Yeah.
When you're playing in Neyland Stadium with 107,000 insane Rocky Top people going all nuts in this, you're gonna have that extra half a second, half a step that their defensive linemen, their edge rushers are pinning their ears back, and you're having to look in as the left tackle. You're having to look in and see when the snap goes off because you can't hear shit. Because you can't hear.
Yeah,
you can't hear the snap count. So it's gonna be interesting. And I like Tennessee to make this a really, really good game, regardless of Bryce Young.
I'm so excited.
But I like Tennessee to win this game.
Yeah.
Absolutely, if Bryce Young does not play.
I'm so excited for this game.
Moving right along. Me too.
It's just this is one of them, I can't remember a game that wasn't UGA that I've been this excited for, other than when it was LSU Bama and those couple years when it was you know what I mean? I got up for those kind of games. I got up for Auburn, Alabama when it was good. This is one of the first times where I'm oh my God, a team from the East can really, not us or Florida. Can really make it interesting against
Alabama. Alabama LSU was not the rivalry that it is now before 2000.
Yeah,
LSU Alabama was just it was hammer and nail. They killed us. I'll be perfectly okay admitting that they destroyed us all. We went through a stretch where we didn't beat them in Baton Rouge from like 1970 something to 1999. It was like
Wow.
20 years without
Yeah.
beating them in Baton Rouge. We had beaten them like 2 or 3 times in Tuscaloosa or Birmingham, but had never beaten them in Baton Rouge. And then Saban came in and we beat Alabama for the first time in forever in Baton Rouge. The game, there's obviously the Iron Bowl has always been their biggest rivalry. It's an in-state game. It's huge. The next one on the list was always Tennessee. Always.
Yes. This is when I was young. Like you talk about
decades.
This. Yeah. You said that
Mhm.
I've heard stories of how big this game was in in years past. And
I'm talking like go back to the 50s, 60s,
game?
70s, 80s. Huh?
Was this when Tennessee won the national championship? Was this the matchup?
No.
Or the SEC
with T. Martin? With T.
What
Martin,
was the first SEC championship game? Was that for Alabama, Florida?
Florida, yeah.
Okay.
And that was in the Spurrier era, so that was a really good Florida
I'm digressing a lot.
franchise.
I just have heard, being the young SEC fan, we have the dynamic where I've only known Tennessee to be decent at best.
Yeah. No, Tennessee used to be really good.
Yeah. And and so I'm super excited for this game, and I'm definitely gonna give Tennessee the look. Are you ready to jump into this little bit of NFL we got here?
Let's get it.
All right, right off the rip, we got the Bengals -1.5 versus the Saints, the New Orleans Saints, over 43.5. I will let you take this. You got your boy coming down. Are they in New Orleans? In
yeah, it's in New Orleans.
You got your boy coming home.
Yep.
And
it's not really home because he's from Ohio, but I know what you mean. That's the scene of the crime where he won the national championship.
Yeah.
That was right before all hell broke loose and the world was never the same. I thought for a while that was going to be the last football game ever played, a college football game ever played. There was a stretch where I was like, I don't know if this is ever coming back. But anyway, no, Burrow coming back to New Orleans. It's this game. I call me crazy, but I just think this line seems too small. I like the Bengals in this game big. I liked the Saints a lot last week in a game where I thought the spread didn't make sense in their favor. In this case, I think the spread doesn't make sense in their favor, but for a different reason. This time, I actually think rather than them beat that spread, I think that the Bengals take this one and take it by probably a touchdown or so. It's the Saints. I think they kind of captured lightning in a bottle last week. I don't know what the status of Jameis Winston is up to the minute, but
when Taysom Hill comes in, it always throws teams off.
Yeah,
but anytime he's so how to describe it? It's like you never game planning for Taysom Hill, so when he's right in front of you, it throws every defense for a loop. What I mean? And so I feel like the Bengals are going to be more ready for him this week if he is the starter versus Jameis. That's just my opinion. Whenever he has to come,
but it's going to be Andy Dalton. Yeah, it's going to be Andy Dalton if it's anybody starting. But Hill just gets more time, and he broke a 60-yarder, and he had a decent game. Don't get me wrong, but we banking on that again? You think Taysom Hill's going to break another 60+ yard run and get another run in the red zone and we're looking at 100 yards and 2 touchdowns from Taysom Hill again? If not, I like the Bengals. I also think this is one of those where the Saints are coming off of a big win after their return from London, and the Bengals are they're dealing with another disappointing loss where I think Joe Burrow felt like I think when he scored that touchdown on Sunday night, I think he felt like they had just beaten Baltimore in their own house.
Yeah,
and then Baltimore just walked it down the field and got that field goal from Tucker.
Talk about that division, the amount of hatred. Obviously, every division has rivalries, but the combo of the Bengals, Steelers, and Ravens, the amount of aggression and hatred in that trio with each other is a big deal. When you walk into Baltimore, when you walk into Pittsburgh to try to win an away division,
it's more than that too. Don't count the Browns out of that because
true. No, I agree.
The Browns is what used to be the the Ravens. You know what I'm saying? Right. It's this. it's a
Where Baltimore, they left Baltimore. They literally said,
yeah,
"Screw Baltimore." Yeah,
yeah. The Colts left Baltimore
yeah,
and moved to Indianapolis, but then they put the Ravens, and you had like this whole thing where like the Browns. Anyway, it's just a cluster where
yeah,
Art Modell and anyway, it was there's some hatred, there's some anger, there's some vengeance there, where you have a team that was in Cleveland and then went to Baltimore
yep,
and set up shop, and now
yep,
they're in the same division together with the expansion Cleveland Browns,
yeah.
that joined the league whatever 15, 20 years ago. It's crazy. And yeah, those other three, the Bengals, the Steelers, and the Ravens, were like that revolving door of who was going to be in the playoffs and making a run to the AFC Championship, maybe even
Yeah,
the Super Bowl for
the
a while.
Flacco and Roethlisberger
Um,
heydays. Yeah.
yeah, well, and Carson Palmer
Oh,
for a stretch there too.
mhm.
There was some, when Marvin Lewis was coaching in Cincinnati, they were a perennial playoff team, kind of like what Mike Tomlin's doing in Pittsburgh now.
Mhm.
So yeah, but back to this game. I that over under of 43.5, I think, looks a little low. And that would favor the Bengals, because that means we're going to be kicking field goals, and McPherson is a good, you know, a reliable guy there. Will Lutz is too, but I just think, in the end, it comes down to quarterback play, and I don't care who's on the other side, whether it's Jameis Winston, Taysom Hill, or Andy Dalton. Give me Joe Burrow.
Mhm.
And the other thing is too, I know they're probably going to
What's
put
up,
Marshawn
AG?
Lattimore on. Yeah, what's up, AG? I know they're probably going to put Marshawn Lattimore on Jamar Chase,
Mhm.
but they're going to move
That's the
Chase
right
around.
decision.
Yeah, and if shit, what's the other receiver's name? T
Higgins?
Higgins. T Higgins is If T Higgins is healthy and playing, full strength again, then you got to pick your poison there, because
Yeah.
T Higgins will light you up just as fast as Jamar Chase will.
I like the Bengals in that one.
Yeah.
Not even a question. What do you think about this guy right here? Chargers minus 5.5 against good old. This is the Monday night game, which is so crazy that Russell
It's
Wilson's
really
getting all these prime time game, like
Yeah.
all these
Well,
like
it's not crazy if you think about it. Like,
that's
it's
yeah,
it's totally predictable. They're
yeah, that's
milking
true.
that.
They're trying to give him chances to win on prime time, and he's just not doing
I'm
it.
trying to find a reason to want to pick the Broncos, even though it's plus money on the money line, and it's that spread's pretty
Yeah.
pretty juicy.
Broncos are
I
3 and
can't
2
I
straight
can't
up
do
in the
it.
last 5 of this matchup, and 3 and 2 against the spread in the last 5 of this matchup.
I don't care. I
Yeah.
really they can't score. I like the under in this game, and I like the Chargers to win. Maybe because I like the under, I fade the minus 5.5, but like I'm going to tease it down. If I would do anything with this game, I'm teasing it down to Chargers minus 2.5. But realistically, if I'm being perfectly honest, I could see this being, uh, 24 or 27-10
Yeah.
game.
I was thinking 31-10 in my head. You already had me
Yeah, like
like
I don't like Denver's ability to score. Even, not that this Chargers defense is insane or anything like that, but no Javonte Williams. Like, who's going to run the ball for him? This isn't Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt.
yeah.
I think the Chargers do enough to stop the run, and they force Russell Wilson to throw, and it's going to be all up to Jerry Judy.
He
And
drops the ball for some reason.
yeah, it's give me the Chargers on this one,
Yeah, so
even minus the
Chargers
5.5.
Chargers are 3-1 ATS at home, and the Denver's 0-2 away.
Mm-hmm.
Even the Chargers and the points. Yeah, I might even tease it, but I don't mind taking them at the 5.5.
No, me
We're gonna
neither.
wrap it up with my two favorite games of the whole weekend. We got Eagles minus 6 against the
This was
Cowboys.
4.5 like yesterday.
Yeah, I know, and it's gonna move. Like, it's funny. Like we record this. Obviously, it's Wednesday night.
Mm-hmm.
If you're listening to this on Spotify or watching on YouTube down the road, like I remember last week when I made these banners and we started the recording, Kentucky was minus 9.5, and when I hit stop, Kentucky was minus 6. Like, so these spreads move even while we're talking. You know what I mean? Like, it's still at -6 as we speak. The game started as a pick 'em and already moved this way. The over under 42, and they're at the link, and it is the Sunday night game in Philly.
I don't care.
I know I like the here's the thing. I was like, I obviously the Eagles are like my the home team, and I have like a little bit of bias to the Cowboys defense being Micah Parsons. I went to school with him. A little bit of bias there, but how do you feel? I think Cowboys defense is going to be the toughest defense. Maybe I'm overstating it, but one of the tougher defenses that the Eagles are going to have to play this year. How do you feel?
Well, so I've been talking about this for a couple of weeks now with AG when we do our shows, and my take on teams like what I see with Philadelphia is I look back to the New England team that went undefeated in 07-08, right? They went undefeated right up until the Super Bowl. And the Giants beat them because they had Jason Pierre-Paul, Antonio Pierce, and they had all these like I think Matthias Kiwanuka and some other like just good rush ends and D linemen. Yeah, Michael Strahan was on that team too. Yes, exactly. Yeah, so you got like this. They had the recipe, right? They had the proper ingredients. I looked at Jacksonville a couple of weeks ago, and I identified them as a team that had potentially the right ingredients on defense to slow down Jalen Hurts. Look at the numbers from that game. Okay, if Miles Sanders doesn't go absolute ape shit, I think he had like 140 yards or something like that rushing and multiple touchdowns. Okay, but the real thing is if Hassan Reddick doesn't have like 3 strip sacks on Joey, I almost called him Joe Lawrence.
Trevor Lawrence.
Joey Lawrence is the guy who was on Blossom, and anyway, it was a 80s throwback. Anyway, so if he doesn't have 3 strip sacks on Trevor Lawrence, and then set them up in like really good field position multiple times, Jacksonville was up 21-0 in that game.
I know. And I had the Eagles -6 and the cover.
Yeah, I know. Well, that's because, and it was funny because Uncle Hotep was like, Jalen Hurts is better than Lamar Jackson. I'm like, please, bro. Like the schedules that they have played is not even close. And in that game, Hassan Reddick. Let me pull up the numbers because this is interesting. I want to like just kind of demonstrate what I'm talking about here. That's college. Where's NFL? Week 4.
By all means, no.
It was week 4.
The Eagles are. It brings up the topic because the Eagles are the only undefeated team, and
they scored.
No,
it was 14. It was 14-0. They were up 14-0, and then Jacksonville scored late to make it close, and then the Eagles scored again. So it was 14-0. They scored 20 points in the second quarter. Okay, Hassan Reddick had. Let me see. Let me look at the numbers here. Where is that Jacksonville?
I feel like also. I mean, I feel like one of the reasons that the Eagles are 5-0 this year is because their defense is no longer geriatric. Outside of
no, it's huge. Yeah, it's huge. So they had 2 sack fumbles from Hassan Reddick, and they had another forced fumble from Patrick Johnson. And I just remember like Trevor Lawrence was just turning the ball over left and right. Okay, Jalen Hurts, 16 for 25 for 204 and a pick against Jacksonville. All right. Then we go ahead to week 5 and against Arizona, whose defense is nowhere near what I think Jacksonville's is. Now, Jacksonville's defense is young, but to me, they have way more talent than and way more pass rush than the Cardinals do. Jalen Hurts against the Cardinals, 26 for 36. That's not bad. 239, no TDs, no interceptions, got sacked twice. Now he had a good running day, but he's starting to regress a little bit. He was lighting the world on fire. He was 2-3 touchdowns a week and like 350 yards.
Yeah, he took nuts. He took the Vikings to the woodshed on Monday Night Football.
Yes. So here's what I'm getting at is that I looked at Jacksonville was a team that I identified that seemed like they had the recipe talent wise. They just couldn't stop turning the ball over on offense to keep Philadelphia from having short fields. And they couldn't stop the run either with Miles Sanders. Dallas is a different breed. They're like what Jacksonville's defense should be in like 2 or 3 years already.
Yeah.
That's where Dallas is right now.
Yeah.
They are going to be in Jalen Hurts' kitchen. They're going to be mixing up coverages, disguising stuff. It's going to be a tough atmosphere. I don't care where they're playing. It's going to be an insane atmosphere. The only caveat that I have for this game, I like the Cowboys plus the points in this game, by the way. And I also like sprinkling a little bit on the money line because I think they actually could pull this upset off. The caveat that I have to that is if they rush Dak Prescott back, I don't like the Cowboys as much.
Yeah.
I think Cooper Rush is in a rhythm.
Hot.
I think he's
don't
got
pull
some
the hot hand.
chemistry.
You never do.
It's not just that. Like I think I'm okay with pulling the hot hand next week against the Lions. Because Dak Prescott is your guy. Like you don't what are you going to do? Tell Tom Brady, "Sorry, bro, like Ryan Mallett is hot, so you can't come in yet." You know what I mean? Like, no, you're gonna the guy you paid all that money to. You know what I mean? You're going to put him in the lineup when it's time. What I'm saying is, for this particular matchup, if you're Mike McCarthy, you want to win this game. You give Dak Prescott a full week with the ones next week in practice, and you let him kind of work his way in with some reps. He's dressed out and he's ready to go in an emergency, but he is not starting this game. He's ready to start next week, and you ride that momentum and you let everybody know, look, we're going to go out here, we're going to win one more for Cooper Rush, and we're going to do everything we can to protect him because who knows if that gets hurt again, we might need. And now we've got this great problem. We got 2 good quarterbacks who are lighting the world on fire.
Like, we had a backup that took us to 6-0. Like, you know what I mean? Like, oh darn.
Right. Exactly. The last thing you want to do is have Dak come in. He's not 100%, or he's kind of rusty, doesn't have that chemistry, doesn't have that rhythm built up with receivers, and he misses like 3 critical third down passes by a hair.
Yeah.
One of them's a pick and the other 2 are incomplete. And so you got 2 3 and outs and you give up, possession on a turnover. I don't like this is one of those situations where you ride the hot hand and you also you just don't upset the apple cart. You don't mess up the chemistry right now.
Yeah, this week
not in this big matchup.
I still think that I think that Jalen Hurts walks one in this weekend after not doing it for a while.
He got one last week.
Oh, did he?
He had 2 actually. He had 15 for 61 and 2 touches. So I actually like him to not walk one in this week.
Fair enough.
No, seriously, I like Dallas. I like Dallas to do everything they can to make other people besides Jalen Hurts beat them with their feet.
Yeah, call me biased, but I think Micah Parsons has 2 or 3 sacks this weekend in the backfield. Yeah, I don't know how to pick a side here yet. I'm like I said, like the Eagles, still can make it interesting, but I might lean Cowboys. But I'm not going to make it like an official number here. And here's the one that I think is going to be. I don't know if it can live up to last season. I don't know how you could if you tried.
Yeah, I'm excited about it too, though. I'm really excited about this one.
Bills -2.5 against the Chiefs. How do you feel?
Under.
I think so too. Everybody and their mother is going to be. I thought the same thing. I was like, "There's everybody and their mom is going to be like, oh my god, it's going to be like 60 to 70, and it's going to be like a 21-14 game." Or something.
Yeah, I mean, I think it could probably be a little higher than that, but 28-24 is still under this number.
Yeah. Oh, that's a great game.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Like that's like perfect. Yeah. That's it's 24-21 and somebody's got the ball late. They could go for the field goal, but they're going to take a couple of shots with 13 seconds left and they punch one in. Well, no, so they probably wouldn't do. I don't know. I would probably do that. I would not want to go to overtime again.
No, my God, so, I would hate to go to overtime. Yeah, because then like it's just. But also like because that both of these teams, like I feel like an overtime game with these 2 teams at this point in the season is almost like hurtful to these two teams because guys are going to be selling out because of last year. You know what I mean? Like you run the risk of dudes getting potentially hurt. You know what I mean? Like I know that I am very excited for this one. A lot right now. A lot of the money is on the Chiefs. I think this is going to be like a big props game for me, if we're being honest. Like,
Yeah.
do you feel anything about a side right now? Can you
Yes. I
are you
like the Bills. I like the Bills
with the
heavy
Bills?
actually in this one. I
Yeah,
like the
because the
Bills.
money's coming. The bets are heavy on the Chiefs right now, which helps us
Yeah.
out.
I'm this one's at Arrowhead, isn't it?
It is. Yes. Yep. Yep.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um,
So I like I still like whatchamacallit. I like
I,
the
I know that
Bills.
Eagles. Yeah, I know that Eagles Cowboys is like a good game, but I'm just surprised that this is not the Sunday Night Football.
This one? Yeah.
Yeah,
I don't know.
I'm just like sort of surprised, or even Monday Night Football.
Yeah.
Like I don't know.
Well,
That's
but
just
that would have yeah. I mean, you would think they would have done that before the season started. Been like, oh yeah, that game is that week. Okay, put it on Monday Night Football.
or just some. I
You
don't
know,
know. Like
or
I mean,
Sunday,
I
or at
know.
least Sunday. Yeah, I'm with you. I'm with you on
Yeah,
that.
I mean, he's just not 1 o'clock. That would have been ridiculous. Like
Well, that actually makes me. Actually makes me. I don't know. I'm really. I jokingly said the thing about the under. I don't know about that, to be perfectly honest.
I'm scared to touch
I don't want to. I don't want to mess
this.
with the over under because
This seems
I think this
like
could
an
go either way.
in-game betting opportunity because I
Yes.
also think I think that this may like by the end of the week become a pick 'em. Like I feel like it cannot stay at like this line. I think it becomes like
Yeah.
I don't know. What do
Bills
you think?
favored on the road. Yeah. Yeah.
I think it turns to a pick 'em or at least close to it, if not like a 1 point game.
Hmm.
The over under is very interesting. I think that this is a let the game start and feel it out, but get some props in.
Yeah. Yeah. For sure.
Travis
Yeah.
Kelsey,
Get your props in.
listen, I was 25 Travis Kelsey yards away from a nice payout last weekend.
Did
So
you ask him if you could exchange a couple of those touchdowns for 25 yards?
yeah,
Like, what the hell
um,
are you doing, Raiders? Why aren't you guarding Travis Kelsey in the red zone? What the hell? Like,
yeah.
come on,
So
somebody put a
listen,
body on that man.
I'm gonna do the same thing. Listen, these are two teams that have such great prop potential. I can't even think of all what I'm gonna be taking this weekend.
Hmm.
So stay tuned for that. But yeah, I think it's been a heck of an episode. But I think it's time to get on out of here.
Yeah,
I think we've had some great picks. I think it's going to be an awesome weekend. I want to
for
thank
sure.
Chad once again for jumping on. I want to make sure that everybody
Honored to
leaves
be
a,
here. Yeah.
leaves a
Thank you for the
like.
invite.
Absolutely, always leaves a like, leaves a comment. We are very very close to 200 subscribers.
Let's go.
Not a big deal.
No, it's a big deal.
Make sure to follow us on Twitter and Instagram at _picking winners. Chad's Twitter is in the link in the description, and make sure to
Also
follow
on the screen right there.
Also right there,
Yeah,
right there.
Yeah.
And make sure to follow Men in Order, as always.
Yes, indeed.
I hope that everybody has a happy and healthy and safe weekend of gambling. Yeah.